everybody, welcome back. So I've got lesson number 6 for you guys. I hope everything practicing has gone well. Number 5 was a big one, which is why we split it into 2. So let's get started on lesson number 6. This one has a lot of good high frequency signs, a lot of good signs for sentence building. So I'm excited about this one. Let's start with the sign for more. A lot of people will use this sign with babies. It's a really good baby sign. But you bring all your fingers together and then tap them together like that. So more. Next is a sign for none or nothing. You actually make 0 hand shapes and just shake them back and forth like that. You can even do it with one hand as well. Nothing or none, or both hands, none. Next is a sign for same as, or so you have your thumb and your pinky out and you go back and forth like that. So if I wanted to say you look like your mom, or you look the same as your mom, then I would go back and forth like that. If I wanted to say me too, I would actually have this movement go between me and the person that I'm talking to say me too. It's basically saying I'm the same. I feel the same way. So me too. Next is a sign for favorite or prefer, and you use your middle finger and you touch on your chin like that. So favorite or prefer. Some people when they use it for favorite, like, oh, that's my favorite, for emphasis, they'll come off like that. Favorite, and then favorite or prefer, that way. Let's see, next is a sign for fine. We're going to use an open hand shape, and the thumb is going to touch at the chest in a tapping motion. Fine. I can also use it in a fine, sarcastic way, and that would just be with a 1 tapping motion. Fine. But usually it's used like this, fine. So if somebody said, how are you? And you wanted to respond, I'm fine, then you would go like that. Another fun thing you can do with this is wiggle these fingers. If you wiggle the fingers, it turns this sign into the sign for cool. It's one of my favorite signs. I love it. Cool. So it's the wiggly fingers. Next is the sign for go. You use 2 fingers and you go away from your body like that. Go. And then come would come towards your body like that. So come and go. If I was saying I go to school, but I'm not saying see you later guys, I'm going to go to school right now. If I'm saying I go to school as in I attend school, then I would repeat this movement. I go to school versus I'm going to school. See you later. So there's 2 different ways to use that. Next is a sign for think. You just use a pointer finger and you touch on your forehead. So I think it's time to go to school. So think. Now if I make a circular motion with this finger on the head, it turns it into think about, or wonder, or ponder with that circular motion. Next is the sign for suppose or if. With this one, we're going to use a pinky finger, and I'm going to touch next to the eye in a tapping motion. If or suppose. If I were to take this same sign but come out, so slightly different movement, like this, it will be the sign for idea. I have an idea versus, oh, if it rains, we don't have class. If. Next is a sign for stop. You hold out a palm with your passive hand and your dominant hand, a chopping motion in the middle of the hand. Stop. Another way you can sign stop, if you're using it in a more joking way, or maybe like a more light-hearted way, I would use this sign. But with one hand in someone's direction, it means knock it off. You're finished. You're done. Stop it. Or stop. Let's see. Excuse me. With this one, you hold out an open palm again, and with your signing hand, you brush your fingertips across the fingertips of the other hand. So excuse me. Or forgive. It is also the sign for forgive. If I did one motion like that, it would be the sign for excused, or dismissed, or laid off, or let go with the one motion. And then if you repeat the motion, it's excuse me, or excuse, or forgive. Next one is the sign for late. This one where you're going to use a flat palm, fingers together, and we're going to go like that. Late. Late. Ah, you guys are late. So this way, now if I wanted to sign later, I would hold up the hand, my passive hand, and make an L with my signing hand and go forward with my thumb touching my palm. Later. A lot of times this hand gets dropped, so it looks like this. Later. Some people will do it from the I, which is a combination of the sign for see and later. So see you later. From the I, see you later. So later. Next is the sign for early. With this one, we're going to hold out a fist with our passive hand and our signing hand. Using the middle finger, we're going to go up over the across the fist, but going forward. You don't want to do it to the side. That's actually the sign for naked or bare. So that's to the side, but forward like that. Think of like this. This is the earth and the sun rising, right? So early. So early. Next is a sign for tease or joke. This one, you're going to do 2 X hand shapes, and you're going to brush the signing hand over the bottom hand. So the bottom hand stays in place, and the top hand brushes across it. Joke, or tease, or kidding. All right. You guys still with me here? Next is a sign for busy. With this one, we're going to use a flat hand, palm down, for our passive hand. And our signing hand, we're going to make a flat hand. It can be a B, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be a flat palm. And we're going to go back and forth like that. Think of running back and forth. Busy. Good. Just have the thumb in towards the palm, either to the side or in front of. Next is a sign for tired. With this one, we're going to use our fingertips, and we're going to bend our hand in the center, go inside your shoulder blades, and make a downward motion. So your whole body drops when you do this one. Almost like the weight of your body is just too much. Tired. Next is a sign for a lot. We're going to make like claw hand shapes, and we're going to go outward. We're going to expand outward like that. So a lot. Now, if you're talking about something like a mass of something like we had a lot of cookie dough left over, like a mass of something. If I was using the word a lot, but something that's countable, I would actually use the sign for many. So a lot of people came. Would be many because it's countable. If it's a lot of something that's not countable, like a mass of something, then it's a lot. So 2 different ways to use that. And then a little bit. So you kind of just flick your thumb from your index finger, little bit. So if I want to say, I'm just a little bit tired. Let's see. Next is a sign for wonderful. You might notice that this looks like another sign that we've learned. Sunday. And they are the same sign. Some people sign Sunday with the circular motion like this, and then wonderful like this. But then people also do Sunday like that. So it's the same sign. Context would tell you which way it's being used. Next is a sign for okay, so-so-ish. And it's just the twisting hand, the sign. It's really more of a gesture than a sign. So okay or so-so. Next is a sign for bored. You're going to stick up your index finger, lay it next to your nose, and twist it. Bored or boring. A lot of people stick their pinky up when they do that. Oh, bored. And they'll even come off their face to make the motion big to show emphasis. Like, oh, that was so boring. Which I hope you never use in reference to these videos. So boring or bored. Okay, next sign is that it's the Y hand shape, and you bounce it forward like this, but it's actually an active listening sign. It means, oh, I see, and it's just a way to show that you're actively listening. In spoken languages, we will often make verbalizations to show that we're participating, we're following along, we're engaged in what the other person is saying to us when we're not speaking. So this is a way to do that in sign language, which I think is really cool. So, oh, I see. Another way that people show active listening is by nodding their head, showing that they're following along. Sometimes they'll reiterate what that person just said, like a critical part of what somebody just said. Like if somebody said, I got a new job yesterday, and I wanted to say, and I could just go sign, what, yesterday? So even though I'm just actively listening, I can repeat back critical indicators from what the person just said to me to show active listening. But most importantly is that you make eye contact and that you're engaged. If you're just, a lot of people when they're first learning to sign, they just kind of go a little bit stoic, that kind of like a deer in headlights. They're just trying to process it all. But then the deaf person or the person they're signing with is like, are you getting this? Like, are you following along? You know, and they're not sure if you're understanding them. So it's important to show that you're understanding. And it's even more important to show when you're not understanding. Because if they're signing away and you're just looking at them and you don't say anything, and then when they're done, you say, oh, I didn't understand. And they're like all of it? Like, did you get any of that? Like, they don't know what you didn't understand. Like, whereas if you were to stop them right when they sign something that you don't understand, then they know what you don't understand and they can fix it right there. But if you let them go on and on and on and on, and then you say, oh, I didn't understand that, and then so I know people feel like it's rude to interrupt and they don't want to frustrate the other person, but it's more frustrating if you don't interject when you don't understand to communicate that to them so that they can fix it. And they'll be more patient with you and be willing to communicate with you longer if they can trust that you will speak up if you're not following what they're signing. So it's important that you show that you're following when you're following and stop them immediately when you're not. And it's not rude, I promise. Let's see, so that was the active listening sign. Oh, okay, I see. And then the last part of this, I wanted to show the different ways to sign the concept of love. A lot of you know this hand shape, which comes from combining the I, the L, and the Y for I love you into one hand movement. So I love you. I do see people, a lot of deaf people will wave with this hand. Bye, see you later. I even see people turn this into an R, and it makes it I really love you. So it's just kind of a fun play on signs, or even both hands. The other way to sign love is by crossing your arms over like you're giving a hug. Love. And then my favorite way to sign love, you kiss the back of your fist. And this is a non-affection expression of love. So you could say like I love my teacher, or I love school, or bananas, or whatever. It's a non-affection love, but it's a really fun sign. It looks kind of like when you sign favorite with emphasis, but you kiss the back of the fist. Love it. Okay, so for the grammar part, we talked about showing active listening in sign language. The other two things I wanted to mention, one were how to ask somebody the sign for something. Rather than saying how do you sign and then spelling it out, just spell it out. And I think I mentioned this before as well. Just start spelling it, and most likely they'll jump in and show you the sign before you're even done spelling it. If you're showing a choice between two things, like let's see, if I wanted to say, do you want to meet on Monday or Tuesday? You set things up side by side. So, hey, meet. And then the which sign in the middle. So you set them up. Usually people will set them up side by side and then sign the which sign in the middle. It's just a common setup. Okay, let's do a few sentences. I'm going to pick a few. Okay. Work is boring. Actually, that one doesn't really, you just sign that one straight up. Let me pick a different one. I'm a little bit tired. So tired, yeah, a little bit. Let's see. Do you prefer to wake up early or late? Ooh, that was a challenging one, wasn't it? So I signed wake up early, late as my topic, and then you prefer which is my question. All right, one more. My mom is busy. Oh, I just noticed I did a fist instead of a flat hand when I signed busy, and I forgot to mention that you can actually do it either way. All right, there we go. Keep practicing. Thank you for being with me today. Bye-bye.